My name is Carly Richards, and I am a second-year PhD student in the Department of Sociology at McMaster. So my supervisor, Marissa Young, she has a pre-existing project called the Family Friendly Community Resources Project that I'll be part of.
So my name is Marissa Young. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Sociology. I am also the director for Center on Advanced Research for Mental Health and Society here at McMaster.
And I'll mostly be organizing the data and then hopefully coming up with like a new way to document and kind of organize everything for the project, just so everything is in one place. Some of it on their end has already been linked. Like I think we're working with CanWISH data, which is participant-based. We're working with the FFCR data, and that's already linked through Census Tract. And then I'm trying to also like add in my own area because I really like crime and law, so I'm trying to add in some crime elements to it.
The project is titled the Family Friendly Community Resources for Better Balance, Health, and Wellbeing Study. And the impetus for this study really was to try to balance a lot of the work that had been done on neighborhood disadvantage and the impact that that had on individuals' health and well-being. But that presumes that the absence of resources is simply just a sign of disadvantage. And so our goal with these data was to develop an amalgamated point of information that included a variety of sources of data on community resources. And so everything from libraries to recreational centers to education centers. And the goal was really to put this together and match it to individual level data from the Canadian Work Stress and Health Study.
Crime data from StatsCan, which is by neighborhood, but I've already been in contact with, I think it's the City of Toronto because they were the ones that worked with the StatsCan data and then published it into neighborhood. They collect their data in Census Tract, so I'm trying to get that information of how you convert neighborhood back down to Census Tract because it's easier the other way. But there was a recent, I think they added 16 new neighborhoods in 2022. And before that, I was working with the original 140 neighborhoods. Now there's 156. So all the boundaries have kind of moved around. And then I'll be able to then merge that in hopefully by Census Tract. And then for analysis purposes, hopefully move it back down into neighborhoods if need be.
When Carly Richards was accepted to the program, she had a keen interest in looking at crime rates across neighborhoods. She had previously studied the impact of neighborhood context, but again, from that disadvantage lens. And so we started talking about her bringing in another layer of data into the community data set that would include crime rates, and thinking about then how the resources that exist in the context of residents can impact crime rates. And so thinking about that as almost like a social infrastructure that helps to disseminate levels of collective efficacy amongst neighbors that might in turn reduce crime rates.
The reason I was brought onto this project is so that I can use some of the data that's available for my dissertation. And that's why I'm kind of infusing the crime elements. But for the project itself, I think the goal is just to build a robust data set with all the different sections like the CanWISH, some StatsCan stuff, some crime stuff, some of the FFCR stuff, and kind of build that all together so that in the future, like if Ruth wants to write a paper, she can pull from this larger data set. If I want to write a paper, I can, or Marissa, or vice versa. So it's kind of like that's the main goal. And then I kind of just have a side goal of like, okay, yeah, incorporate all the stuff I would be interested. Marissa has basically said like, just throw in whatever you think would be interesting for the next like 2 years to look at. And then hopefully I would have gathered everything I kind of want, and I can use the resources and the individual participant data and kind of use that for my dissertation. And so specific to Data Champions, my role will be coding some of the data that already exists as well as some of the crime data, and then trying to just bring some more organization and whatnot to the project, and just making sure everyone knows where everything is, we know who's working on it, and kind of creating like a main document at the end with like just helpful things. So like it'll tell you where this data set is, where this one is, and then the goal is to connect everything by census tract or neighborhood. So then eventually helping with the merging of all the data sets, mostly through the coding.